Hello, welcome back. Today I'm going to do a video that can just continues to look at my leaks. There was a great point made in one of the comments on the videos that I do have a leak overfolding blind versus blind. Absolutely correct. I had already spoken about this, that, blind versus blind particularly is one of my many weak areas. So we're going to have a look at some of those spots. There may also be some spots where I'm playing from either the small blind or big blind, and the other player may be in another position. So we'll see. But I certainly want to improve my game in the blinds, and I do think overfolding is a big leak of mine anyway. So I have many leaks, but that's one of them. So hopefully I can do some work on fixing that and just show you what I do to try to address that. I'm not a poker coach. This is just more of a blog. I'm just showing you what I do, and hopefully it works. I'm going to be using GTO Wizard. This is a product that I use. It's a product that I like. I'm not a salesperson for GTO Wizard. I do make a little bit of commission if you purchase on the link in the description, but I haven't been given any special training or anything like that and how to use it and how to sell it or whatever. It's just you're going to see what I know. I don't know everything about it. So I was asked a question about the pricing. It's not cheap, and but I find it's valuable. It's kind of worth the money for me. But let's just quickly look at that. So you've got different products here. I'm not going into all of those. I've got the cash game product. I use the premium product. So you get a free product, a starter product, and a premium. Obviously, different prices for those. Premium being zero, but you only get a limited amount of options there. Premium, basically, you get everything, and starter is something in between. And there's a list of the features there. If you can see those for yourself, you don't really need me to, repeat those, but it's quite clear, I think. So scrolling down, so obviously the premium is the best. You get everything basically, and analyzing 100,000 hands a month. That's more than enough for me. I'm never going to be analyzing that many, I don't think. But anyway, so here are the prices. Free, it's free. That's clear enough. Um, you can start off at $39 a month. But I use a premium, and um, there's a price of that. I pay a monthly subscription at the moment, but you can get an annual subscription, and it may even be a little bit cheaper than that. I can't remember, 25% cheaper, I think. So, I'm probably going to go on to annual very, very soon. But monthly suits me at the moment because, last month, the last month or two, I didn't really have much time I had my youngest son visiting me, and he was with me for about a month, and then some friends came to visit me, and so it's just a really busy time. So I kind of had a little bit of a break, and then I started this up again. So that's that. So let's have a go. Let's get into looking at my leaks, which is what we're here for. So yesterday I uploaded some hands, and you can do that in a number of ways. I uploaded directly from, I think, my PokerStars hand histories, and but then I selected some hands from my Holdem Manager database. I've played so far in the challenge. I've played about 15,000 hands, something like that. I don't want to analyze them all at this stage. Okay, so let's just have a look at this. I just selected the ones where I was losing money. Most of them I was losing. I just selected most of the hands that I was losing money in. So there's about 1,200 hands here or something like this. So here we click onto that database that we've uploaded here to analyze, and here I'll just click this column here, which is the EV loss. So all of these have lost money, I think, or lost EV. Don't necessarily lose money if you lose EV. It's just a, you know, there's plenty of videos that explain exactly what EV is, and I try to just use it in a simple terms. Plus EV is a good move, bad EV, minus EV is a bad move. And generally speaking, you're going to be profitable if you're making plus EV moves, and unprofitable, you'll be losing money if you're making negative EV moves. On the individual move, obviously you can make a plus EV move and lose money. It doesn't necessarily mean that that individual hand wins, but you've made the right move. And this is it's a good concept for me, because I think sometimes, and this has been a leak of mine in the past, but I just think it probably still is. But thinking maybe I'm going to lose too much money on this hand or whatever. I don't want to lose two stacks. And but really, what you should be thinking is this a good move or is it a bad move from an EV perspective, rather than I have two stats, three stats. I'm going to put it all in here. It's all going to go if I lose. So anyway, so what we want to have I do is look at my play from the blinds. Yesterday, I think we looked at the top 2 or 3 hands or so that were negative EV. We wasn't really focusing on the position we were in. But here we're going to be looking at the blinds. We've already looked at this one in yesterday's video, so we won't go to that one again. Let's look at this one. I don't think we did this one. So we're in the big blind here with ace queen. So I mean, if we did look at this one, we'll just go over it again. But I don't think we did. I didn't think we got this far. So we just click on this. We click on this replay hand here. And we can go back right to the beginning of the hand. So it kind of it looks like it tells you what the next play is going to be. Fold. The next play is going to be a fold. The button folds, and this tells you here the small blind is going to raise 3. Okay. What do? We raise 10, and it likes that. So actually we raised 9. So that's a good move. This tells you what the next move is going to be. So the small blind re-raises. And so here, what our action is outlined here, and we folded. Let's click forward there. So fold. Okay. So let's go back. So that's our action that's highlighted. And you can see here the EV for folding here against a 4-bet blind versus blind for ace queen off is 0. So from a GTO perspective, just a GTO perspective, with the way that I've got this set up, I think I've got this set up to generally 100 big blind stacks and $50, I think. But I'm not sure whether it's kind of using that as a basis for its analysis, or whether it's just using the the hands that I've uploaded, the stack sizes and the amounts and everything. So I'm not too fussed about that. I just want to get a general flavour of what I should be doing. So folding 0 EV. So here it likes calling 38% of the time. So that's so here you can see here, this is an interesting point. 38% of the time it likes calling. So, and the EV for that is 5.9. So that's good. Okay. Positive EV equals good. And it likes going all in 62% of the time. So, you know, we've got a little bit of a mixed strategy. We should theoretically be trying to call 38% of the time and go all in 62% of the time. So I think this is where you, and I don't do this, where, you know, you might use random number generators to help you make those kind of mixed decisions, so that, you know, 38% of the time I'm not that advanced. I'm just kind of trying to simplify it at the moment. I'm sure in the future I will change that, and I'll start using a random number generator to try to nail this. So anyway, so 62% of the time going all in. So I folded, and here we have the word blunder. So I've got a piece of paper here, well, a notebook and a pen, and basically ace queen off, big blind versus small blind, and then basically all in. I'll make a couple of notes on that if 4-bet. Okay, that's the way that I'm just going to simplify the notes so I get an idea. I can't remember everything. You know, you've got this, and there's so much to remember. I try to get the information I need down into one point, and I hopefully that helps. So that's that. That ace queen off is particularly. I'm going to probably do another video in the future that looks at how to play particular hands, or how I play particular hands, and how to improve that ace jack off and ace queen off, probably ace jack suited and ace queen suited too. But I feel a little bit more confident with ace jack suited and ace queen suited. The fact that the hands suited makes me happier because I have more options potentially, but with the off-suited hands, I get a little bit more nervous about those because, you know, I can be left hanging with an overpair that is struggling. That's what I feel. I might be wrong. That might be the wrong attitude. I might have to have a look at that later on. So, okay. So let's move down. So that's that one. That's a big blind, cut off button. We'll have a look at the button in another video, I think. I think that's another area that I want to improve. I want to improve in all areas, but, you know, I just think it's easy to play ace under the gun, isn't it? You know, hey. But, you know, blind versus blind, button versus big blind, these are the areas where I certainly want to be improving. So we've got queen jack off in the big blind here. So let's see what's happening. So let's go all the way back. Okay. So this is the start of the hand. So fold, 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 fold. So again, so we've got the small blind is going to take action, and we have a raise to 3. Okay, and this is 100% call. So queen jack off, 100% call to a small blind, open raise, and we got that correct. So well done us. So what happens here. Go back. Okay, so we've got a bet, we've got this flop, we've got all spades, and we have a spade, jack of spades here, so, you know, it's looking okay for us. We have options, and we have 33% bet there, so call pretty much all the time, which we do. Okay, and we make the flush. It's not the nut flush, but it's the third nut flush, so that's great. The small blind checks. Now, check can mean weakness, or it can mean trapping. You know, it can mean I've got the nut flush. I want you to put some money in there, and then I'm going to take it all from you. That's my sort of binary thinking of that. So here, it looks like I checked. Okay, so which I did, and what did it think of that? 71% of the time it's checking. That's 9.22 EV. I mean, here you've got, this is the interesting point. I don't know if I mentioned this on the last hand. Most of the time it's checking. There are other options here. 14% bet, 33%, 8.5% bet, 50%, and betting 75%, 5%. Okay, so that's the kind of ratios of these actions in comparison to each other here. But if you look at the EV, 9.22, 9.21, 9.2, 9.9. So the actual EV difference between those hands is very minimal, isn't it? So from an EV perspective, all of these are okay, you know. So, you know, there's two things to consider there. You know, if you do end up betting, yes, I think this is what this is saying, as far as I understand it. This is some, if you're going to be playing a mixed strategy, this is something that you should be doing. You know, betting 75%, you should be trying to do that about 6% of the time. No, we're not. I'm never going to remember that in game, you know. But what I will remember, it's okay to bet that amount. It's okay to bet small. It's okay to bet half, or kind of all actions apart from folding is okay here. You can fold anyway, but so so that's that read check, okay, and an ace of hearts comes, and the small blind bets 50%, so puts in 5 chips, and we fold, you know. To be honest with you, again, I looked at a couple of my hands yesterday, and I put it on the video. I'm being completely honest. I mean, I was shocked yesterday to see what I did, you know, and it tells me that, you know, I've got a lot of work to do. I mean, I'm a profitable player, and I looked at what I did yesterday and analysing my hands. I thought, God, that was terrible. But you know, I must have had a reason in game, and to clearly, you know, that needs to be addressed, and hopefully, making those changes will bring profit. But we'll see. So I folded here. There must have been a reason, a rationale in the game. Maybe I thought this guy was on the nut flush, but you know, there's not a lot of money in there, so you know, I've got 177 chips. I've only got to pay a small amount, you know, but I've got a chance. So clearly that's a blunder, and obviously it's got here call 100% of the time. So, you know, that's a note I'm going to be making. My note I'll make on my paper here: call with third nut flush. Is it third or fourth nut flush? Anyway, I don't think it makes that much difference. Blind v blind in big blind. Okay, that's my simple note. Simple note. You know, obviously, then don't have to pay much. I think that's the other factor. You know, if he shoved, it'd be interesting to see what they say, but you know, to pay a relatively small amount of money for that was a no-brainer. Okay, so there's two hands. So hopefully we can fix that leak in future. So we'll move down. The next one is we're in the small blind. We have Queen Queen. Let's have a look at this. So let's go right back to the beginning very quickly. So under the gun, fold, fold. Oh, we have a raise here from the hijack. And cut off folds, button folds, and it comes to us, and raising 12 is the thing to do here. And we raise to 11, so that's okay. You know, maybe we just need to make a note just to make that a little bit bigger. And the big blind folds by the looks of it. Okay, great. So what does the hijack do? So raises to 22. So he puts in a bit bigger. So the correct move here for the hijack would have been raise 22. So we get a bigger raise. So and what's going on here? So we have two options. With the Queen Queen here, we have either call, and which is we need to be doing about 11% of the time, or going all in, which we need to be doing about 88, 90% of the time. The EV for both of those options are both the same, 7.77%. So according to this, putting your stack in here with Queen Queen in the small blind is either a call or all in, and both have exactly the same EV. Now, I mean, I think this, you know, yes, it might be if you want to go for a mixed strategy, blah blah blah. I think I'm really going to remember, more likely to remember, you know, 70% of the time I should be doing this, 30% of the time I should be doing this. You know, when it's like kind of 90% of the time do this, 10% of the time do this, and then it's binary call or all in. Pretty much, I'm gonna be, you know, I'm not bothered. I'm just gonna be shoving, you know. What's my rationale? What did I do? I called. Okay. So that's okay. Positive EV move here. We have a check then from me, so I check that flop, and that's great. Correct move. That's the pretty much the only option here we do. We can bet, but checking is perfectly good. And the hijack, so what's the hijack bets in? So we got to bet 25% in, and we called. So good. So we're doing okay so far. And then we checked, so that's looking good. Okay, so the check here 68% of the time. We could also bet That's an option, bet 40%. But we checked. I think I do tend to play a little bit on the passive side sometimes, so that's probably another league where I need to start mixing in some bets, particularly in situations like this when the ace comes. Okay. I have got better recently. I think over the last few months, I think, you know, I'm a lot less passive than what I was, but I think I still need to work on that. I'm still like, oh no, the ace. Oh, no. Oh. Or I'm more, fuck. Pakistan, you always deliver an ace when I've got queen, you bastards. No, so you get the idea. So, okay, so we get a small bet from the hijack, okay? And it's a really small bet, 10% here. And I folded. Inaccuracy. It says inaccuracy. Yeah. There's another word I could use, but that's very polite way of putting it, isn't it? Inaccuracy. So, I mean, looking at this now in analysis, it doesn't look great, clearly. There must have been a reason in game why I folded that I thought was a good idea at the time. And it could have been player dependent. This could have been a really tight player, and the VPIP is 6%, for example. So this is where, for me, I mean, I find it difficult to separate, the GTO and exploitative play, you know. So I'm using GTO Wizard and I'm trying to learn to GTO to get an understanding of poker concepts, and I believe it's improving my game. But no way I play GTO 100% of the time in game, particularly at $2 games. So you get the idea. I hope that makes sense. So sometimes I'm probably going to make decisions that deviate from this, and I'm sure that will change in the future. But there must have been a reason why I folded to a really small bet here in game. So I'm going to make a note that from a GTO perspective, I shouldn't be doing that. Second pair, small bet, we should be continuing here. So that's a leak, over folding. Okay, so that wasn't blind versus blind, was it? I mean, the guy was in the cutoff, wasn't he? So it doesn't really matter too much. I think we got the concept there that, it's an overfold and I was in the blind, so we're nearly there. We're nearly blind versus blind. But it's helpful for me, so hopefully it was helpful for you. So let's have a look at this next one. And we have 2-2 now in the big blind. Now, this is interesting because, these small pairs can be a little bit difficult to play. We kind of have something and nothing. We're set mining and we want to flop a set, obviously, and grab the stack of our opponents. But, we often forget in these situations that we can end up with set over set. And we think, oh, I've got a set of twos. There's no way I'm going to be beat. And yeah, there's lots of ways that you can be beat by set over set, boat over boat, and so on. So that's something to bear in mind. So we have 2s in the big blind, so let's go to the beginning. We have under the gun fold, hijacked folds, cut off folds, button fold, button raises, sorry, yeah, button, let's go back, so button raises, and the small blind folds, I believe, okay, and we call, and that's the 100% correct move, okay, so, but it's interesting here, we've got the ratio, I say the 100% correct move, the ratio here is 100%. We're not folding, we're not raising any time, and we're not going all in any time. But the EV is not that great, you know. So I think that's the important thing to bear in mind. You've got 2-2 in the big blind versus a button open raise. You're calling, but you're in a marginal spot. So that's what I'm taking from this straight away is like, you know, you've not got 9.5% EV, 7.7% EV. You've got 0.48. It's still positive EV. It's a, you know, it's good. Positive is good. Negative is bad. But relatively speaking, compared to, you know, having ace ace, obviously, I mean that's fairly obvious that 2-2 you're going to be a lot less happier about that than having ace ace, you know, and then we can see that in the reflected in the EV score here. So that'd be cool, I believe. So that's great. And we flop about wonderful. Okay, so we have 2 options for either checking or betting. So, you know, it's roughly 50-50, isn't it? You know, and the EV on there is pretty much identical. Check or bet, check or bet, check or bet. So, you know, it's pretty difficult to make a mistake with that one. So we check. Okay, good. And the button bets in to that 50%. And we have options here: call, raise 50% or raise 100%. Looking at the EV there of each of those options, they're all pretty much the same. Okay, so what do we recall? Great. So, and this is a really tricky spot. What do we do here? Now he or she could have a better boat than us, couldn't they? So yeah, so yeah, so this is a tricky spot, isn't it? We could be counterfeited here potentially. And could also have quads, but very unlikely. So anyway, let's have look at it. So checking 99% of the time, we check, and the button checks. Now what does check mean? Check means weakness or trapping. That's kind of the way I think about it. Okay. And I checked here. which we're doing here, it's doing 0% of the time, okay? But it's still 7.9 EV. So now we have these symbols here. I need to have a look at what these symbols mean. We'll probably get that in a moment. I can't remember. Red means bad. Yellow means bad but not so bad. Greens mean good. That's kind of the way that I would call this anyway. So let's move forward. I check, and the button bets, and I folded. Again, we have a situation here. We haven't really got to put much money in here to win that pot. Okay. It's a ridiculous fold, isn't it, really? You know, and I'm looking at this now and I'm thinking, why did I do this? Why did I do this? I mean, was I worried about a flush? Was I worried about a better boat? Was I worried about quads? I've no idea. Okay. The thing is, the key point for me is not much money, is it? You know, it's I've got a stack of 155. What's going on? So, you know, 100% call. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I folded. Okay. Not very good, is it? So I'm going to do some more work on that on my own now. So this is just a little 30-40 minute video. We've done a few spots there. We took a look at a few spots there. I will do some more videos where I'm looking at overfolding and blind versus blind work and other work like this, but I only want to keep these videos down to about 30-40 minutes. So I've kind of reached that time now. I think that's probably about the sweet spot for that. So hopefully you found that helpful, and please let me know in the comments if you're watching the videos and you want me to look at a particular spot using GTO Wizard, or if you have a particular question. I'll probably, I may not have the answer. I will try to. I'm quite happy to try to do a video like this. I'm not a poker coach. I'll just sort of do what I've done here. Just kind of put my hands in, have a look at it, see what it says, make a note, try to improve. It's just that simple for me. And I think as I grow and develop as a player, that will become a little bit more sophisticated. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.